Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being able to make it to today's session of Keep Calm and Career On, where we get to share mindfulness techniques and career tips. If you're new to this session, my name is Bert Rivera. I work at the Career Development Center at Cal State University, Long Beach. And outside of that, I actually practice meditation, mindfulness. I've been practicing for about 12 years, studying under very accomplished teachers who show that mindfulness is possible as a way of life in your everyday experience. And for the last 7 years, I've actually been teaching along with my wife mindfulness and practices. So welcome to our session of Keep Calm and Career On. This is a session that we have almost bi-weekly throughout the fall semester to provide an opportunity for you all, students and anybody interested, to both learn career tips, things that are going to help in your career search, along with mindfulness tips, things to help in these unstable times that we're within. So my goal is to help you walk away with some practices that are going to be both beneficial professionally, but also personally. So with that, I wanted to get started just by asking a question to those who are on the call today. Just a simple question. Our theme today is tips for virtual networking. And I wanted to hear, as we're all in this pandemic environment, we're all working from home or studying from home, what has been the biggest challenge for you in connecting with people or networking in this virtual space that we find ourselves in? So you can just type that out in the chat. Maybe if you think about maybe one of the biggest challenges you find as you're trying to network or maybe connect with different people, and it can be anything. There's no right or wrong, but I just wanted to get a pulse and hear kind of some of the challenges that you all are facing when it comes to networking. So feel free to open up the chat box. Just type in what comes to mind. So, okay, we have one person's response and says, finding ways to actually feel connected to employers. That's a good response. That definitely is a big challenge. How do you stay connected and engage with employers when you're just in your own room and connecting that way? Wanted to see if there was any other feedback or any other challenges that you have when it comes to connecting with others. If there's anybody else there who wanted to share, give it another 10 seconds or so as you get your thoughts together. And then the other one says, okay, sometimes it's very one-sided. Okay, so yeah, especially if it's careers or networking, you're maybe reaching out, but maybe you're not hearing back. It doesn't seem like there's an actual dialogue or a connection. So thank you for those examples. I think those are perfect, and I think that'll help with the career tips that I'm going to share, and hopefully should help out as you're working to increase your networking capacity virtually. So I wanted to share 2 career tips today on this topic of improving your virtual networking. The first, kind of the 2 tips are going to be how to connect with people and then what to do when connecting with people, because both of those are the most common challenges I've heard in talking to students when it comes to networking, especially virtually. So first, connecting with people, how to find people to connect with. Most people are working from home now. Some people are working from offices, but since we're not in person, we're not on campus, it may be harder to find who. Who do we want to talk to? Who do we want to connect with? So my advice on that is to use a tool, Career Shift, which I introduced before in our last session. And I wanted to introduce it again because it's very powerful for finding contacts. So Career Shift is a tool that you have accessible through your career link. So basically what you would do is go into your single sign on to career link, click the little career link button. And then within that, when you go to jobs or internships, there's a little drop down, and one of the drop downs says Career Shift. And that takes you to this web page that has a tool where you can not only find jobs, but you can find contacts. Here, this is great if there's certain companies you want to work for, maybe certain industries you're looking for, maybe you want to work in entertainment or you want to work in medical or healthcare. You can find companies on Career Shift, and then you can find the contacts that work at those companies. So it's a really powerful tool to get email addresses and phone numbers of people in organizations you want to work for. Additionally, it also shares the job titles of those people. That way, if you know, let's say you want to work at a certain company and you want to work in marketing, you can find people with marketing roles in that company. You don't just have to look for recruiters or people who hire people. In fact, it's probably better to find people that are in the positions you want to be in so you can learn more from them. So that's a good tip. I'm going to share with you the link to a guide. There's a guide I created that gives you more information on using Career Shift, how to get to it, and also how to find people using the contacts features. So that is in the chat. There's a little link to that guide right there. So that helps you find people to talk to. So now once you've found some people, what do? How do you reach out to them? This is a tip that is a tried and true tip, and I give that advice to all students that I work with, at least in our graduate business program, is to do informational interviewing. And because we're virtual, you'd be doing virtual informational interviews. An informational interview is where you reach out to somebody at a company or an organization, and you're not necessarily asking them for a job or interviewing for a job. You're asking them for information. You want to learn more about what it's like to work at the organization. What skill sets do they use at a regular basis? You want to just learn more. You're asking for information. This is great for a couple reasons. One, it gives you more information about what you need to be prepared to go into that role. Maybe they say there's skill sets that are needed there that are highly prized. Maybe they say in that company, there's a certain process for entering that company. You'll learn more in that informational interview. A second reason why it's important, though, is because now you know somebody in that company. And if there is an opportunity that opens up, they know you and they're more likely to vouch for you or maybe let you know when opportunities come up. So it does help you with careers. I read an interesting stat. They said on average, somebody sending out resumes for every 200 resumes sent out, they get hired. And then the stat was for every 12 informational interviews that they do, they get hired. So it's a really high yield practice talking to people. You're more likely to get job opportunities that way. To help out both with those tips and learning more about informational interviews, I have a couple resources I wanted to share. This I just found online and I was looking through and I thought they were pretty good resources. So the first one is Why Informational Interviews. It's a little guide that says why it's important to do that practice. The second is a guide for informational interviews. So step by step, what do you do to actually create an informational interview? So check those out. That'll give you some more information and hopefully help you out as you're trying to build your virtual network. So for today's mindfulness tip, I wanted to teach one that's one of my personal favorites, and it's a mindfulness of movement, walking mindfully. This I enjoy doing immensely, and I wanted to introduce you to this practice. So we're going to take a little time to do that together. If you are unable to walk or have challenges walking, um, please let me know. Or please just modify your session. You can do it seated, or you can just find alternative modes of movement. However, I will be walking through the steps of walking, but you can always adjust as needed. So to get started, I'll go through the mindfulness tip, and then afterwards, if there's questions about the career tip, I'll definitely stay on and answer some of those. So I'm going to turn off my camera actually, and you can turn off yours if you'd like. And basically, this is an opportunity where I'll just guide us verbally since we're all in different spaces. So if you're able to, find a place where you're currently at in your room or the space that you're in, one where maybe you can walk a few feet before having to turn around. What I want you to do is just find a standing position, one where your feet are firmly planted on the ground, at hip distance apart, your weight's balanced across both feet. Here you can put a slight bend in your knees. You can roll back your shoulders. And you can just allow yourself to breathe in and breathe out. As we do mindful walking, we want to start with a nice mindful standing posture so we can bring our attention here. And this is a great practice to relax, to let go of things on your mind, and to do it if maybe it's a little hard sitting down. This allows you to move and to also come into that focus and balance. So here, just breathe in and breathe out standing. What I want you to do is shift your weight from onto one side, one of your legs, and the other leg, as you start to lose the weight in there, I want you to slowly lift up your heel, move it forward, place your heel on the ground, and then slowly start to shift your weight from one foot to the other foot. Here, it isn't about going super fast. It's actually about the opposite, slowing down. See if you can just slow down your movements. Now, shifting up the other foot, pivoting and shifting your weight, and slowly, moment by moment, moving. See how slow you can walk. As you do this, I want you to just breathe in and breathe out. There's no right or wrong way to breathe here or right or wrong way to move. The goal, though, is to just slow it down. If you notice your mind distracted, see if you can go a little bit slower. As the slower you go, it becomes a little bit more challenging. So you have to put more attention on standing upright. It's okay if you, in the number of feet that you're able to walk, you can just pause and turn around and begin walking again at that pace. As you just simply breathe in and breathe out, moving one foot at a time, see if you can be mindful with all the mechanics that it takes to move and to walk forward. Lifting your heel, placing your heel down on the ground, shifting your weight while you lift the back heel, the foot rising, your other foot stable on the ground. As you place the heel on the ground and continue that motion. All the while just breathing in and breathing out, allowing your body to relax, allowing your mind to settle, and allowing yourself to come into a space of focus where you can let go of any anxieties of the day, any challenges or any stresses. And in that, become more mindful with your walking. Take a few more steps in this way, just breathing in and breathing out. Relaxing your body with every step. Letting your mind begin to settle. Taking this opportunity to just appreciate the simple act of breathing, the simple act of walking, and just being. No matter what challenges or stresses or anxieties you may have, as you move step by step, breath by breath, you give yourself the opportunity to settle, to relax, and to bring the best of yourself to this very moment. You can make your last step and just stay in your standing posture, closing your eyes, breathing in and breathing out here, letting your body settle, letting your mind relax. Here, if you're ready, you can return back to your seat, to your computer. And that was just a simple practice of mindful walking. It's one of my favorite mindfulness practices, as you can do it moving from one place to another. You may not move as slowly in some locations, especially public locations, but you can still bring your attention to your feet as you walk and bring your attention to your breath. And in that way, you can work on staying centered and staying balanced no matter what situations you're moving through. With that, I wanted to share a resource. I have a recording that I did of a little bit longer of a mindful walking session, about 10 minutes long. And this is something that you can do in the future if you want to be able to have that practice and have access to it. Then also, you can also go much longer if you'd like, sometimes maybe 20, 30 minutes long. And it really shifts you into a different state of mind. And with that state of mind, you're more ready to handle the challenges of the day. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for participating in our midweek mindfulness, or our Keep Calm and Career On. This is an opportunity to learn some career tips and then also some mindfulness tips. If you have any further questions, you can always reach out to me. My email is bert.rivera@csulb.edu. So feel free to shoot me an email if you have some career tips or questions, or if you have some questions about mindfulness and want some insight that. So with that, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.